Hi everybody, it's May 31st, 2013, and I'm in a little better mood today. You know, you have those up and down days, but as you can tell, I'm very concerned about the gravity of the situation that we find ourselves in. Before I go any further, I want to tell you about a video. One of the commenters sent me this on my personal message, and actually a lot of people have given me a lot of things which I haven't gotten to yet. One about the oath that we take to the Constitution. There's an addition in there that was added at a point in time that we need to discuss and have it removed. I've looked at it and I think this attorney's correct. It makes a lot of sense to me, but I'll get that down the line a little bit because I want to have my statements in place, because I'm not an attorney. I have a degree in law, but it's not a Juris Doctorate. So anyway, let me go here though, because this is really good. A lot of you are saying, where are the military people? And you know, I've mentioned some names. I want you to go to this. This was sent to me by one of you all out there. It's by Lieutenant General retired W.G. Boykin, B-O-Y-K-I-N. Okay, and it's called, and this is how you'll type it in, Marxism in America, by Lieutenant General, and in parentheses, retired, R-E-T, W.G. Boykin, B-O-Y-K-I-N. If you type it in like that, it should come up, but you can also find it. The right one to get is the one that's under, I think it's Trevoc 2, capital T, R-E-V-O-C, number 2, okay, on YouTube. There are some other links that I have, but it'd be too hard to give that out here. You'd miss it. So I think if you go listen to that, it's about, I don't know, 6 minutes long or so. And he tells you, it's really good. You know, I was, like I say, a lowly lieutenant colonel, and I can see these things. And then to have these really distinguished men of high rank who are willing to come out. Again, they're retired, but, you know, it shows that we're not in the wrong direction here, that we are seeing things that are critical and that are dangerous to freedom and liberty. We're in a real war here. It's a Cold War right now, information war as it's been called, but it's shifting slowly, you know, going after Christians, as I've talked about, veterans, especially returning veterans who are considered militarily dangerous to the establishment. And I wonder why, because they come back and they see what's happening. It opens their eyes, as I've said before, where they've been and what they've seen, how we deal with people overseas and what we're doing to our people at home. The DHS, and General Boykin makes a real good point of this, the DHS being a police force here, you know, in the United States, a civilian military force under command of the executive branch outside of the military, and how dangerous that is, and why the precedent is so terrible, and the warnings are so ominous about that. He explains that. He's articulate, as he would be, of course. and along those same lines, you might be wondering, well, why didn't I approach somebody like General Boykin rather than General Petraeus? Well, because I already know where Boykin is, okay? It's a numbers game, number one. Number two, there were certain things about Petraeus that I would hope would come to fruition. But I'm afraid after this last spectacle with him and Kissinger that he has publicly united himself, not just in the private ceremonies that they do, but publicly linked himself to this evil side now. And I find that to be very disheartening. But there's nothing I can do about it, nor you. We just have to recognize it for what it is. So the gamble didn't pay off, you know, but really the blessing or the curse was upon him, and he decided to go with the cursing side. That's his choice. So I'm just going to leave that there. Okay. Rachel Maddow, you may know that finally, you know, this queen of disinformation and of the establishment, you know, the one who puts down all these supposed conspiracy theorists, except for the ones that work for the government, she's finally come out and said, you know, there is something about this FBI shooting of this kid in Orlando, this Chechen kid in Orlando. You know, if you're being attacked by somebody, you're going to shoot him multiple times in the torso, in the back, and in the back of the head. That was good of Rachel. You know, I don't know if she's going to get any flack from this, or maybe the people up her chain are saying, look, you know, the alternative media is making a big deal about this. We're losing ratings. We got to start telling a little bit of the truth. The truth is, ladies and gentlemen, you might be wondering why I haven't talked about this. Everything around the Boston bombing is falling apart. We told you day one that this was a false flag, and everything that's happened since then has proven that to be the case. You know, there were some actors on the scene. I'm not saying all the people that were injured were actors. I'm not saying that, but there were some, and I'm not going to get into the details, but there's some very good photographic evidence to prove that, to just kind of make it worse than it really was. Not that it wasn't horrendous, because it was. Don't misunderstand what I'm saying here. What I'm saying here is that there was a lot of theater involved with it as well. Okay, I'll just leave it at that. Anyway, so you have all these things happening around the Boston bombing. They got caught right out the gate because people are paying attention now. They're awake. A lot of us, you know. And we said, wait a minute, what about this? And what about this? And what about this? Remember when they came out with those pictures of the two brothers and said, don't look at any other pictures because they don't want you to see any of the other evidence. You know, we had that one Indian kid from India who was found drowned in the river. You know, both brothers, one killed, the other, so he can't talk, and supposedly he's giving all these, you know, which I highly doubt. He's admitting to all this, these confessions, supposedly. It's nonsense. He got out of the boat without any injury, and all of a sudden he has a throat injury. He can't talk. Has to be, you know, taken care of by paramedics. No gun on him. You know, all of these things, I mean, they're so obvious. The fact that there are no pictures of the brothers at the first bombing site, I'm just going over all of this for you again already. The fact that there was a drill, that craft was there, and other possible, and I'm going to call them mercenaries, not security forces, okay? They're mercenaries. That's what they are. And I'm just going to call them that from now on because that's what they are. They are there for money, not for principle, okay? So you had all of that. Then you had this thing with this Chechen kid, you know, being killed down there in Orlando. Yeah, that was... You're going to tell me that little guy, even if he knew martial arts, he's going to be a real threat to an agent that knows what he's doing? You know, I've interviewed people. I know what goes on in those things. And it was obviously a lie right out the gate. And that's been proven now. Do you see all these things that are mounting up? The two FBI agents that were part of the Dzhokhar investigation that were there at the time that they took him, mysteriously fall out of a helicopter in a training accident. How convenient. Yes, I am watching all this, ladies and gentlemen. The mathematical probability of all these people surrounding this case dying in the way they have is astronomical. You'll get hit by a meteorite before these kinds of things would happen. And the same kind of things happening, these supposed conspiracies all along the way. All right? So, yes, I am aware of this stuff. It's frustrating, and yes, I want you to keep your eyes open. I don't talk about everything because I figure that you can see it for yourself if you look at it. Okay, there's no way I could cover everything anyway. Not in, 10, 15, 20 minutes. So I am aware of this. Look at what's happening. Yes, the government's dirty. Yes, the FBI is dirty. Portions of it, okay, that do these operations, as I've said before. Department of Justice and the AP thing and going after Fox News. The IRS, the DHS calling veterans and Christians terrorists, and they don't even list Islamicists anymore, jihadists. All of this, doesn't it show you where we are and what's happening? Of course it does. If you don't see it, it's because you're not looking, and I'm talking generally, people, okay, not necessarily the ones that visit my channel frequently. I'm talking publicly. You're either not looking, not paying attention, you want to ignore it, cognitive dissonance, because it's too hard for you, or 3, you really don't care. You don't care what happens. You don't care if your kids grow up in a Marxist, Leninist, authoritarian, tyrannical state that monitors their every move. I mean, even the Russians threw that off. The Russians are doing better than we are these days in that regard. So, yes, these things are going on, and they're very, very troubling. Very troubling. I don't think I'm going to cover a whole lot more here today. I just wanted to let you know that, yes, I have been aware of these things. It's just that it's just overwhelming. It really is, to see what all is happening. On a final note, because a lot of people keep asking me, we're talking too much. We're not doing anything. I know writing your congressman, and I know talking on the internet. And I know, doing all the things in this information deal seem like they're not working. But believe me, you have to have a period of time. This is preparing a battle space of sorts, okay? We don't want this, and I've said this before, hold your fire. You don't want to take this to the next level. You have no idea of the demons you release once bloodletting starts. And I don't care if it's justified. We probably are right. The people are probably justified in hauling, these people out of their government offices and executing them on site. Okay? They're probably justified for it. But we have to be careful. The rule of law is important. If we give ourselves away to the same methods that they use, then we're no better than they are, number one. Number two, people need to understand the dangers that involves. You should never, our leaders, when they take us to war, they always clean it up. You never see the real bad stuff that's going on. You release people into a situation like that and horrible, horrible things happen. You cannot control the bloodlust once it starts. You can't do it. And you don't want to unleash that amongst our friends, family, and loved ones here. They're going to try to force us. The government wants us to fight back. They want us to do the first shot. But you can't. Do you understand? You can't. We have to have the moral high ground. So it's not a reticence to do something. Okay? It's not that. It's that you really have to know what beast it is you're unleashing when you do that. And frankly, I don't want to go there. Okay? I'm not saying it won't come to that. Because this government is so evil and corrupt. And right now, all of their lies are falling apart. And not just Obama's. This goes back for many presidential people back. Okay? This isn't just a Democratic Party thing or a Republican Party thing. This is an establishment problem. The international bankers, as we talked about before, these people behind the scenes, giving Kissinger a kiss by Petraeus. That was, by the way, if you understand anything about the dark side, you'll understand what that was. Light side has a similar situation, but that's not what that was about. That was the dark side. We're up against people here that have no scruples. They don't care if they kill everybody. You understand? So we don't want to release that if we can avoid it. Defend yourselves, of course. Obviously you have to do that, but just be aware of the consequences. And some of us are just going to have to do it aware of that. But don't do it, prematurely. You got to try to get these people to back down and go away. Some things are happening. There's infighting going along right now, just like it is. I gave the information the other day about the people in the alternative media. They have this infighting going on. They're throwing dirt on each other. And I said, well, the dark side doesn't do that. Well, they do, but they try to do it in a civilized fashion. Okay, they don't use dirty words and stuff like that. They maneuver. They try to get themselves in a better position than the other guy. Well, that's starting to break down. Do you see it? It is starting to break down. The Bilderberg meeting, that they're going to have in the UK. Now they don't want to have any demonstrators around. They're going to have a police presence and all this. They're afraid. And that's good. Okay, that's real good. But it's also very dangerous because they know they haven't got anything to lose. If they lose this, they're going to go away anyway. They're going to go to prisons. They're going to be executed, all those things. So they've got nothing to lose, okay? Understand your enemy. And don't do, as I pointed out before, what Pickett did at Gettysburg. I don't care if Robert E. Lee did give this blessing, And I'm not talking about the Confederate side I'm talking about tactics here, okay? You gotta be methodical on these things, ladies and gentlemen. As hard as it is, you have to be methodical. You have to cross your I's and dot your T's, because once the chaos does start, if the shooting ever does start, there won't be any control on either side. We don't want to go there. Hey, we don't want to go there. Last resort. All right, that's enough for today. I probably won't put anything out this weekend. I've really got to just back off of all this. I think you've noticed, a lot of you said, man, you're looking tired, you're looking sad. Yeah, because this is weighty stuff, man. This is weighty stuff. I've had friends, that really put me down, for saying get prepared and do all these things. And a number of them now are saying, oh, you're right. It's hard to be out the point of the spear, so to speak. It's hard because you take those kinds of denigrations on yourself. And I'm not talking just about me. I'm talking about anybody. One lady in particular who I was quite fond of was very nasty about it. Oh, you have food supply. You're trying to get ready. You're an alarmist. Lost a relationship there over it. Well, there were other things too, but the point is that people don't want to wake up. A lot of them don't. And you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make it drink. But the rest of us that do understand, we have to have a little charity here. Try to prepare for others who couldn't see it because they weren't strong enough, or it was just too horrible for them to look at. And that's the case for a lot of people. Okay? So we just have to try to take that into consideration. Charity. Okay? Take care of those who really don't know how to take care of themselves as best as you can. You can't sacrifice your own family for that, but as far as you can help, be there when the thing falls apart. And you don't have to say I told you so, although that particular lady I'm going to. But open your arms up and take them in, and put them to work. Have them help you with some aspect of your survival. And don't think that you're an island. Nobody's going to survive this thing by themselves. We need each other. Okay? All right, enough for today. I rambled on a little bit. I am in a better mood, so thanks a lot. It has to do a lot with you folks out there. You gave me a lot of encouragement